When OK Computer released in 1997, it quickly took the world by storm. Radiohead had seen success before with their debut Pablo Honey, as well as the Bends, which sold pretty well, and they were told by labels to just keep making music like that, basically the Bends Part 2, and they were bound to see success. But the band had other ideas, and I mean thankfully. The release of OK Computer skyrocketed the band's career, as well as their critical praise. Critics all over the world were blown away by this record, and to this day it still remains as one of the most influential and in general most critically acclaimed albums of all time. I'm gonna go track by track and explain what I think of each song, talk about why I love this project, and why I think it's one of the best albums to come out from the 20th century, and of all time. So without further ado, let's get into it. The album opens up with a song that gets better the more you listen to it. I find Airbag to be extremely catchy, the chorus is addicting as well as the electric guitar melodies. The song opens up with this strong, harsh guitar melody. It's accompanied quickly by loud, impactful drums and more melodies that build on the song. There is plenty of progression, the melodies keep switching, and the song has segments, you could say. And that is a big part of this album. It is extremely progressive. After the second chorus, there's a big instrumental break where you can really hear the guitar melodies stand out. In hindsight, this song is probably the happiest track on the whole album, at least subject matter wise. In the song, Thom Yorke sings about a rebirth of sorts. He's talking about how he felt rebirthed after he survived the car crash. There's a brief moment of happiness for Thom. He's amazed that he survived the car crash, singing that he's back to save the universe. A great way to start off the album. Content-wise, it's very easy to pick up on what it's about. Sound-wise, it's extremely progressive, like the rest of the album, and it's one of the more traditional rock songs on the album, although even that is a stretch because of how different this whole thing is. This is the benchmark for what a good song is. Remember how I said the last song was progressive? Yeah, I know, this blows that out of the water. Paranoid Android may just be the most dynamic song on this album. It's got multiple segments that are inspired by multiple things. Thematically, it's pretty wide-ranging, but the main aspect of it, in my eyes, is going insane. Thom opens up the song with the chilling lines, "Please, could you stop the noise? I'm trying to get some rest from all the onboard chicken voices in my head." He repeats, "What's that? What's that?" over the chorus to display his paranoia, hence the name of the song. He has some fantastic lines here, which are some of my favorites from him. "When I'm king, you will be first against the wall with your opinion, which is of no consequence at all." He's talking to people he doesn't like, and also talking to himself and potentially what's going up there in his head. He's tired of what he's feeling, and in such a short time he's able to leave a pretty big impact on this song. For this part, which is the first part of the song, I would say, we hear an acoustic guitar paired with an electric guitar, which makes for a mysterious sounding melody. There is something driving it though. The electric guitar melodies that come in from time to time really add to it. There are some keys as well during the chorus to add to the big sound of this track, and it sounds bright but with a dark undertone to it which is creeping up. We're now at the second part of the song where there is a switch up. The melodies switch up, they are harsher than the first part. The electric guitars played by Johnny Greenwood get louder, there's drive to them, and we get into this instrumental break where the drums are loud. There is a distorted backup melody of the electric guitar, and the main melody is Johnny absolutely shredding over it. It is an extremely hype moment, and one of the hypest moments on the whole album. It just gets you going. Thom Yorke sounds louder and angrier compared to the first part to match the energy, and then, there is yet another switch up. We get to the third part of the song where it does a complete 180. It sounds angelic, it's very open, there's a simple drum pattern, a simple acoustic guitar with Thom Yorke and Ed harmonizing O's, pretty much like a choir. It seems like the theme here may be biblical. As I said, the themes on this song range quite a bit, but this part is honestly soul-touching. The contrast it creates from the part before, it just helps it with the impact it has. And as soon as you think you're done, nope, we go back to shredding electric guitars, weird noises from Thom, and a big breakdown. This track is incredible and definitely a highlight in their discography, which I think it would be a highlight in anyone's discography. It's extremely dynamic, there's plenty of switch ups, it has hype moments, it has devastating moments, it's pretty much the whole thing in one. This song's subject matter goes along the same road of many other Radiohead songs, Isolation, but it puts a pretty interesting twist on it. Again, Thom doesn't fill the paper with lyrics, but the stuff he says stands out and is impactful. He's describing how he wants to be abducted by aliens.
Take me on board their beautiful ship.
It is the calmest song yet, and it's quite emotional. That's a big aspect of this album. It's extremely emotional, which wasn't really the norm back then when this dropped. People labeled Radiohead as too depressing for the radio, and look how that turned out, eh? It's another song that gets better the more you listen to it. I can't count how many times I've woken up and I've had this song stuck in my head. It's smooth, Thom has very good vocals on it, and I like the lyrics.
sing us a song.
This song was originally made to be in a movie, the Romeo and Juliet movie, and the song ended up in the film's closing credits, but Radiohead thought it was too good to not put on an album, and you know what, they were correct, they were absolutely correct. Exit Music is a chilling, gentle song with not too much going on aside from the choir vocals and a chilling, anticipating acoustic guitar melody. This is pretty much the build-up to a big crescendo that we're gonna get to soon. The theme of this really being running away from home with someone. We can hear people as the song goes on in the background, as well as noise from public transport. But you know, as nice as this sounds, as mellow as it is, as smooth as it is, as I said, this is the build-up for what's about to come. At about the 2 minute and 50 seconds mark, the song explodes. There is some type of synth bass really taking over and driving the song, and you may think this sounds good on its own. But yeah, that's not it. Knowing Radiohead, you shouldn't expect simplicity. Tom York gets louder, singing is hard out, the choir gets louder, the drums get more aggressive. There's so much going on. It sounds skeletal almost. It's extremely wide sounding, and I think what gives off that skeletal feel, the backbone of this part, is the sub bass. There's not much to talk about thematically here. The sound of the track is the focus, and I mean, if you listen to it, you'll understand what I mean. And you conclude that they do a great job at that. This part, no matter how many times you listen to it, it never feels anticlimactic. And after it's done, we're left with this empty feeling, blown away a little from the eruption that had just happened. Tom softly sings to finish the song off, and it leaves you thinking, how do you follow this up? Surely there's no proper way to follow up something this grand sounding and make it on par with this. And that's where I introduce to you the depressing Let Down. You hear guitars and a keyboard on this song. It's nothing too complex, but they make it sound so grand and melancholic. It's probably the saddest sounding song so far, which we're talking about OK Computer here, okay? That's an impressive feat on its own. It's just straight up emotional. It has some more pronounced rock elements, but it still has that Radiohead feel to it. It doesn't feel like a regular rock song is what I'm trying to say, okay? No way. The drums are pretty sad sounding here, especially the tom. There is a lot of use of percussion here, a shaker I do believe, and it works very nicely. The subject matter, as suggested from the title, is about, well, being let down. He talks about how you shouldn't get too sentimental. At the end, you will just feel let down. I really like the crushed like a bog on the ground lyric. He talks about how it feels being disappointed, or just in general talking about his feelings and how he feels. Bugs sometimes remain alive after they've been crushed. They can see themselves dissolving and being crushed, slowly falling apart. We get an instrumental break after the second chorus. It's just the guitar, and then slowly the elements get added back in, creating build-up in a very cool way. It's just eeringly depressing. Everything around you feels slow, you feel crushed, disappointed. There are some disorienting guitars playing, which adds a lot. And then we get even more evolution to the song, my favorite part of it. The instrumental comes back in, fuller than before, more impactful with the drums and the shakers. Tom talks about how one day he will grow wings, he will be free, and he will fly away. It's incredibly sad, as well as being incredibly catchy due to the more present classic rock elements on this song. It's really the perfect follow-up to Exit Music and one of the most underrated songs on this album. Karma Police opens up with its legendary piano melody, and it's another one of the more melancholic feeling songs. Tom and Johnny have said before that this song is meant to have more of a comedic character, but listen to the song and tell me, does this sound funny to you? Does this sound comedic to you? You could be singing about the most dumb and happy stuff on here, and god damn it, I still cry to you. It's about someone just going around and telling the so-called Karma Police to punish and arrest someone he doesn't like or has slight issues with. Then during the ending, which I will talk about in a little bit, he realizes that he got a bit too far ahead of himself. He realizes how petty he's being, and also realizes that he's not immune to karma and that he needs to be careful with what he does, as well as not wish karma so much on people. A Radiohead life lesson, eh? But now onto the sound of the song. It's pretty stripped back and with some choir-like angelic vocals in the back in the chorus, as well as the drums taking big space on the track. It has a pretty nice piano melody paired with an acoustic guitar. There is a crescendo here, and it comes after the second chorus, which seems to be maybe a theme here, and wow, this one is insane. As he's saying, for a minute there, I lost myself. The whole song just goes in the back. I'm talking about the mixing of the song. You can hear how sharply it goes back, creating a very visual effect. The drums get faster right before this happens, and it really adds to the effect that it was going for. A lot of reverb going on here, making it sound even more spacious than it already was with Tom singing over it. As it goes on, we can hear more voices get added, some vocal effects here and there. You genuinely wonder how this was made by a human. It sounds so inhuman but so emotional. It's really interesting, and that's the case for this whole album. We can hear some sort of a distorted siren sound. I'm not too sure what it is at the end there, but that's how the song goes out, just further adding to this artificial feel and kind of going along with the story of the song.
Fitter, happier, more productive.
The outro of Karma Police transitions well into the next track, Fitter Happier, which is an interlude. It's a robotic voice talking about how he's going to try and improve his life, explaining the stuff he's going to be doing to turn his life around.
Eating well, no more microwave dinners and saturated fats. A patient, better driver.
There's a dark, haunting melody in the background that sounds extremely sad, and even though this track is overlooked and sometimes called the worst song on OK Computer, for me it's necessary.
An empowered and informed member of society. Pragmatism, not idealism.
The piano melody is very sad, and pairing it with this robotic voice makes it sound even worse. For what it is, it's pretty soul-crushing. There's not much to talk about here, but it's a great interlude in my opinion. Another pretty straightforward song. These two songs are seen to be the worst on the album. Electioneering is by far the hypest, most rock-like song here. It has blaring rock guitar melodies and a more conventional rock sound. It's not a great fit on the album, but as a song on its own, it's pretty damn good. The guitar melodies sound nice, I like the drums, and the chorus by Thom Yorke is catchy. The song goes into a breakdown after the second chorus, which is loud, obnoxious, and sounds pretty good. Lyrically, this is straight up a political song. From what I can tell, it's about being anti-neoliberal policies and against Tony Blair and the so-called New Labour Party. I really don't know anything about this, so I'm just not going to comment on it. But the song is pretty catchy. The only downside of it is it's not a great fit on the album, but as I said, as a song, pretty good. This is probably the darkest sounding song on this whole album. Climbing Up the Walls has a nice bass melody, and adding to this darkness, it's also accompanied by some sort of synth bass at parts, as well as electric guitars. The sound of the drums is a big factor as to why the song sounds dark, creepy, and scary. The big hits are hollow, but also feel deep and wide. It creates a creepy, hollow feeling. Thom Yorke just adds to the feeling with his vocals and lyrics. The subject matter on here is about mental illness, more specifically paranoia. Some lines on here are from the view of paranoia itself. From the opening lines, you can already pick up on that. The chorus is devastating. It's the paranoia talking to Tom or whoever the subject of the song may be. Either way you turn, I'll be there. Open up your skull, I'll be there. Climbing Up the Walls. Climbing Up the Walls is about the speaker trying to climb up the walls and escape this thing, but the paranoia will always be there. Tom's vocals on here are chilling. He really plays into this role, and even the lines that are from his perspective sound desperate. The whole song is soul crushing, but then we get to an instrumental break where the instruments are loud, there are strings, the electric guitar is more prominent, there is distortion, and it all just gets too much. Almost describing what paranoia is with just sound. We see it come down a bit with the drums still going and less sounds, but here Tom in the outro is wailing the line Climbing Up the Walls, even screaming it at the top of his lungs at the end for a heart-touching finish to the song. It's, in my opinion, one of their most soul-crushing songs, and Tom does such a good job on this song vocally, especially on the chorus. The chorus is insanely catchy, and I just think Radiohead hit the nail on the head here when it comes to describing what paranoia feels like. Everything about this song sounds so distant and inhuman. I think that works so well here in this context, and of course it works with the name of the album. The saddest song on the album. No competition. It's a highlight in Radiohead's discography, and for good reason. The sound of the song is not as full as the other songs on the album. There are songs that have more instruments, that are more dynamic, even more interesting, but there is nothing like No Surprises. It's a one-of-a-kind song. The melody is a keyboard with an acoustic guitar. These two sound pretty bright together, and in general, just sound-wise, it's bright sounding, but there's some undertone to it. It's hard to pinpoint what gives it that undertone. Lyrics aside, I think the melody is happy and sad at the same time, and for lack of a better word, it sounds relieving and almost sounds like a lullaby. That aspect of this song only gets better when you look at the lyrics and the subject matter of this song. This is, to put it nicely, a song about Thom Yorke, or whoever the subject is, wanting to take his life away, escaping from everyday responsibilities and to be free, uninterrupted, quiet. The first verse talks about how this person is unhappy. His heart is filled up like a landfill. He's working a job that's slowly killing him. He has bruises that won't heal, not actual bruises, but emotional bruises. On the chorus, he goes on saying how he wants there to be no alarms and no surprises. He wants everything to stop. He wants to escape the real world. We get into a really emotional part of the song here. The instrumental is completely stripped to just the main melodies. The subject of the song decides to finally end his struggle. He says this is his final fit, his final bellyache. He's no longer going to endure the struggle he's living in. Tom does amazing vocals here, and the drums come back in for the chorus. On the third verse, he's looking back on his memories, his childhood, his good memories, his house, and so on. He does indeed have good memories, but he believes it's not worth it. The song ends with Tom repeating the no alarms, no surprises chorus again. He wants to be free from everything. The song slows down and it ends on a sad note. No Surprises is a song that can be seen as a person deciding to go through with it, as sad as that sounds. People who've struggled with mental illness before and have had thoughts like this can find comfort in this song. It's got a lullaby-esque feel to it, especially in the first part. It's somewhat repetitive with the melody, but I think that only adds to the song. It's one of the Radiohead songs that really display their greatness from it. They're known for making depressing music, and this is the peak of it. No Surprises is comforting, it's depressing, it's melancholic, and extremely thought-provoking. I usually don't talk about the visuals in these videos, but I think the music video to No Surprises is probably the best music video in the Radiohead catalog, mostly because of how well it fits this song and the subject matter. In this song, Tom further talks about his fear of traveling and vehicles. It's about an airplane crash as well as being a bit about love. Tom talks about how he's on a roll, he's had good things happening in his life and that it's gonna be a glorious day. However, there is a plane crash. He talks about Sarah in this song. He uses the name Sarah to refer to someone he loves. He's asking her to pull him out of the air crash. He's her hero. Honestly, that's what I can pick up. The lyrics here are pretty foggy and I can't exactly tell what's going on. If someone's got a better idea in the comments, make sure to let me know. However, I can talk about the sound of the song. Another slower rock song here. It's got that old school sad rock sound. There are some great melodies on here with the electric guitar. We hear strings, the drums aren't that prominent. They're definitely quieter in the mix. Not one of my favorites from the album, but it's a great song. Some people see this song as a bit of an anticlimactic ending to the album, while others see it as a perfect ending. All I can say is that it's definitely not as extravagant as some of the other songs, but it's a nice message to end on. It's about how you should be more appreciative of your life and enjoy it. Johnny saw tourists speeding through a town in France and not really enjoying their time, so that's what inspired the making of this song. It's a nice note to end on. It's a good moment to reflect after you're done with the album. Sound-wise, it's also more stripped back, I'd say. There is yet again a guitar solo which sounds nice. The song sounds pretty loud, but it feels nice. It feels like it's just swishing around your ears, I guess. I quite like it. It ends with Tom repeating, slow down, slow down. Basically him just saying how you need to take your time and enjoy life. And the last thing we hear on OK Computer is a hit of a triangle. Hopefully I've done this album justice in this video with breaking down what makes it so great. Still, to this day, it sounds so fresh and is one of a kind. If you haven't listened to it, I don't know what to tell you. Just go and listen to it, and I hope this video has motivated you to do so. We don't get many albums like OK Computer. The way it tackles mental illness, politics, and the soon-to-be social media and technology addiction around the world in such a head-on way is what makes it so good. OK Computer holds nothing back. It gets in your face and it isn't afraid of being soul-crushing. So many of the songs here are deeply depressing and melancholic, even comforting in a way. Oh, and yeah, Fitter Happier is a good song, okay? I don't care what anyone says, it is a good song. But yeah, that's it for my review. If you liked this album, tell me why. If you didn't, also tell me why. I'm looking to hear you guys' opinions. I also ranked every song from this album, so check that out if you want to. I'm gonna be doing a whole trilogy of Radiohead videos, actually more than a trilogy, but basically, I will be reviewing OK Computer, I will be reviewing Kid A, I will be reviewing In Rainbows, as well as doing some other Radiohead related videos. So please make sure you like and subscribe. It will mean so much to me as it'll help push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace.